Hello, world. I'm Dr. Thomie Campbell, pastoral counselor and master life coach. Thank you for tuning in to the Thomie Talks Show. First, give an honor to God for this opportunity to introduce to you a lady who is a multi-potentialite, Miss Vaneese Johnson. She is a phenomenal woman whom I admire and had an opportunity to work with. One of the things I like most about Vaneese is her spirituality. She takes situations in stride and calmly by applying a positude approach. She is also an author and a well sought out global speaker. So, congratulations. And again, I admire you, Vaneese.
Thank you.
So, Vaneese, is there anything else you would like viewers to know about you?
I think they're going to discover some information, as we have this conversation.
Mhm.
But in the coaching space, I am known as the Boldness Coach.
Right. Right. Okay.
So, and I think again, they'll have an experience on that. But I think for the most part, you covered it. I am definitely a seeker, after God's own heart,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to serving others, and
Mhm.
especially when it comes to leveraging the talents and gifts that He's put into me to be
Mhm.
able to serve others. So I hope that also that the listeners today will be able to get that sense,
Mhm.
of who I am and my authenticity in this conversation.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, what does bold, big, and bad mean?
Mm,
Mhm.
I know it sounds kind of they definitely are acronyms, but it sounds cliche-ish without it really being a cliche because there's meanings behind each word. And I'm just going to talk about how this came about first before I get into the definition, because I think it'll give some context
Okay.
to the definition.
Mhm.
So I had gone through a period in my life. I was going through a divorce at the time.
Mhm.
And, I was, really just feeling down about a lot of things.
Mhm.
And, one of the good gifts that has been put in me is perseverance. And so I was on my way of persevering through. And
Mhm.
as I was pushing through, I started to think about how many other people may, and especially women, maybe at a major crossroads in their life, a major life change, whether that's birth, whether that's death, or just whether that's transition, in one way or the other, right? And
Mhm.
I'm like, I really don't want women to have to go through the journey this particular way. Even
Mhm.
though I can't direct anyone's journey, I can be on the sidelines,
Mhm.
and maybe demonstrate for you and coach you in a way to do that. And the best way to do it is for me to be the demonstration for others.
Mhm.
And so as I was going through this, and I'm like, I really want, women to feel empowered. I really want them to find their courage,
Mhm.
to know that they can be able to persevere through some of what may seem life's most challenging circumstances.
Mhm.
And I said, I really want women to be bold, big, and bad.
Mhm.
And I had to think about, like, what does that mean? And what does any of this mean? Like, it sounds good, but what
Mhm.
does this really mean? I don't want it to be, again, cliche-ish, right?
Mhm.
And so I think in the common speak, what we say is we say, big, bad, and bold. I think is the common way that we say it, right? The
Right.
cliche of it.
Mhm.
So I inverted it, and then I had to give it meaning. And Tommy, as I am really, in
Mhm.
prayer about this, what does this mean? And God, is this really me? The Spirit came on me and said, yeah, and you are the
Mhm.
boldness coach. And I'm like, who walks around calling themselves the boldness coach? Who
Uh,
walks around saying I am bold?
right.
And the Spirit was like, you do.
Absolutely.
You do.
Own
So
it. Right.
yeah, own it, right? Receive it and own it. So
Mhm.
that's how we're leading up to the definitions. And as I got that clarity, I'm like, well, what do these words mean? If I am this person that you've chosen to be, the tangible representation, the visual representation, the auditory representation of boldness, what does this really mean? So
Mhm.
as I sat with this, there was a couple of different definitions that came up. But the one that I want to focus on that probably is most relevant for everyone is bold stands for becoming out loud daily.
Mhm.
And just a sidebar for a second, Tommy, you know me, but
Mhm.
anyone who's listening to me want to grab a pencil and paper, because this is going to be really some good information that will be imparted on you, and you are going to want to dive in as soon as you hear me talk about,
Okay.
some of these meetings.
So let's pause for a moment. Okay, we give you 20 seconds to grab pen and paper because she comes to teach.
Yeah, and that's the gift, right? And we'll talk about how that comes into play. But I hope that you've grabbed something. And if you don't have note and pencil, paper, pen to write with, put your phone on record so that
Board, yes.
yeah, so you can record this and then play this back while you're moving about throughout your day. But BOLD stands for Becoming Out Loud Daily. And that has a definition. And it's any change from the lower level of potentiality to the higher level of actuality.
Mhm.
So think about that. Bold, becoming out loud, becoming any change from the lower level of potentiality to the higher level of actuality. So that means moving every day and every way from the potential of what you could be to what you actually are, and becoming who you actually were meant and chosen to be.
Yeah, moving
So that is about
purposefully.
living in the courage. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, what'd you say?
I said, moving purposefully.
Yes, I love that. Moving purposefully as well as intentionally.
Mhm.
So every day, that's really being in acceptance of the authentic you. Now, there are other ways to apply that, but you really do want to look at boldness from a way of, I'm moving from what I could be into what I actually am.
Mhm.
And then big stands for, this is one of my favorite ones. They all are my favorite, but big is about building in your gifts. Now, any of you that are listening today, some of y'all used to go to Sunday school, but the parable of the talents, right?
Mhm.
When the master goes away and he comes back, he gives each one of them a level of talent before he leaves. And
Mhm.
when he comes back, he takes account. He gave one five, one three, and one one. And so each one of us has been given a measure of a gift, each
Mhm.
one of us. And
Mhm.
it's up to us really to build in that gift, build in
Amen.
our genius to
Mhm.
be big, right?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
that means that building in our genius will solve every problem that we have in our lives, because it helps to build courage. It will put you in a position where you can be able to grow financially. You'll build confidence. You'll be able to serve your community. Being big has so many legs to it, until we do need to live in our bigness every day. And bad means blessed and distinctive. Each one of us are highly favored and blessed. We don't need to say it, but because we are living in our boldness, our authenticity, we
Mhm.
are becoming every day, striving intentionally, right, purposefully into the actuality of who we're becoming, or who we're meant to be. And because every day we are building in our genius, then our reputation should get us invitations to the table.
Mhm.
When we're not in the room, people should be talking about us because we are being authentic and showing up in how we are and how we've been favored and blessed every day. And
Mhm.
the distinction is, none of us here are alike.
Mhm.
Yes, you and I both can talk and say words and articulate that, but you have your way and I have my way. So
Mhm.
that is what bold, big, and bad means for everyone.
Wow, that was wonderful. So, how can a person apply these constructs to their life? I know you just went through and defined them. So, how do we go through life and make sure that we are applying these?
Yeah, that's a really great question, because there are moments throughout our day, that give us the opportunity, of an experience,
Mhm.
and really think of it as an invitation to grow. So
Mhm.
there are every moments throughout the day. So look for those moments throughout the day that you're having these experiences that are calling you forth to really respond at a higher level than what you've ever responded to before.
Mhm.
So think about somebody who maybe is in traffic. We see that a lot, road rage, right?
Mhm.
And someone's, is either riding your tail or someone cuts you off. And people say, what's wrong with that person? And why they tripping like this? And then, we all get to doing this kind of right about the
Mhm.
person. But
Mhm.
perhaps that experience is really teaching you about patience.
Mhm.
Perhaps that experience is really calling forth in you is, well, why am I so focused on that person? Am I in a rush to go any place? Can I actually give space so this person can be able to exercise what they think is important to them
Mhm.
without causing harm to myself or to them?
Mhm.
So, another instance could be in a work environment. We're in tumultuous times,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so there may be experiences where you may take something personal that a person has said to you. The question before you get to taking it personal and assigning it a feeling or an energy,
I like
perhaps
that.
ask yourself the question, what is this really about? Is this really about me, or is this about this person being uncomfortable
Mhm,
with maybe something that's going on in their life? Or
mhm,
perhaps they're uncomfortable because their lack of education and exposure
mhm,
maybe gave them this only way to communicate to me about the situation.
mhm,
Where's the opportunity here for me to grow? you
mhm.
know and I'm not saying this from a place of Pollyannianess, like, oh, just do this, ta-da, and life will be better. You have to work through it. But
Yes.
before you can work through it, there's an opportunity of awareness.
Mhm,
The other thing I'll say, Thomie, is that when it comes to being big, some people aren't happy with their careers. They're not happy with their jobs. They feel like I should be making more money. Or sometimes we've heard where people say, they've hired this other person in, and now I got to train that person.
mhm.
And that is something that can be common speak. But the question that I want you to ask yourself is, am I maximizing my opportunities here in this organization?
Absolutely.
Another question could be, am I maximizing my talents in the workplace? Have I gotten comfortable where I am and expecting people to see my potentiality, or am I expecting people to see my actuality, and what I'm doing and reward me as such?
Mhm,
Or do I need to own my own career? Do I need to identify my own opportunities and really, discover the courage so that I can be big, building in my gifts that were given to me?
mhm.
Right. And
I
the
like
last thing I'll say, in putting bad, into context and every day, is when you are living your authentic true self, and that is what you're focusing on every day,
mhm,
people see you.
mhm.
And people assign us outside of us. People assign us one way or the other. They assign you as a person who is great to work with. They assign you as a person who's always have great ideas. They assign you as a person who's good to listen to, or they assign you as a person that it's hard to work with you, it's hard to get along, you don't listen. So it's up to you to make sure that you are showing up being bold, big, so that you can get the opportunities for bad without you having to push and scream and shout for them. They'll actually start coming to you.
Yeah, I am about to jump up out of my seat over here. I am trying to stay still and just go, oh, yes, because I had to learn that, you
Yes.
know, and like you brought up the situation with work. And it's like, I know I have talent and I have people around me telling me that I don't, pretty much,
Yeah.
and telling me what my worth is. And I know that I'm worth more. I know what I can do. And here I was listening to all of this negative stuff when I know that I'm much different. And I know that God made me better than what they are allowing me to be. And I was like,
Yeah.
ask yourself the question, is it me or about me or is it about them? And
Right.
to me, I learned it wasn't about me, it was about them.
Yeah.
And so what did I have to do for me
Yes.
to be a better me or to live in my life according to the way I know I can live and not according to what someone has told me that I am. So
Yeah,
I
right.
get
You're
that.
you're absolutely right, because we don't know what background they're coming from. When I say
Mhm,
background, we don't know what they're dealing with, what they're processing. They themselves may feel that they're under someone's thumb. And they
mhm,
may feel like, well, I'm under someone's thumb. Guess what? So do you get to be on someone under someone's thumb. I'm
mhm,
not going to let you surpass me because I can't surpass them.
mhm,
So we don't know what they're coming from. But I think those moments, and I'm so happy that you ask yourself those questions, but I'm more happy that you have the awareness to
mhm,
know that when a situation appears and that is something that's revealing itself, in that moment, that you get to say, wait a minute, what is this really about?
mhm,
And I think the other part of this, Thomie, too, is really asking yourself, meaning the individual asking themselves, is, am I really at my potential? Am I really moving higher than where I actually am?
mhm,
Am I really working on becoming what I'm actually meant to be?
mhm.
Or am I spending my time focusing on convincing people to see me? And a lot of people spend their times on convincing people to recognize their talent when we ourselves have yet to own that ourselves. People cannot see something in us that we're not owning ourselves.
So say that again, because that is a person who is absolutely living bold, big, and bad. A person that is, repeat that.
Yeah. So when we're not, we can't spend our time focusing on working for other people to see us when we're not living as who we are.
Mhm.
So that
Yes.
is really the essence of boldness. The essence of boldness, and everyone has a different level of bold.
Mhm.
So, showing up in the world, as who you actually are, people will see you. And I'm a testament to that. I mean, I was in the airport, in the Oakland airport, where there are really hundreds of people, just in that whole transition. And someone calls my name and they said, "I knew that was you by your hair color." Or I knew that was you by what have you. I mean, or I come into a room and people will say to me, "I don't know you, but you look like somebody who's interesting. You look like someone that I should know."
Mhm.
And I'm really proud of that meaning, because I am in my authentic self, to
Yes.
the point to where I am attracting,
Mhm.
right? So we talk about manifestation,
And law
right?
of attraction.
The
Yes.
law of attraction. So I'm manifesting abundance
Mhm.
through owning who I am.
Mhm. Yeah. So I was going to add to that. Anyway, wasn't meant to be said. So, who is your target audience?
I do have this conversation, with the heightened aware individual, the conscious, the conscious individual, right? The
Mhm.
seeker,
Mhm.
so that's the overall theme. But under the seeker, it's the everyday woman,
Mhm.
and everyday women, because, and not to defend my choice, right? But the
Mhm.
everyday woman is because, as women in general, we bear the brunt of a lot of challenges. We're nurturers, right? We're healers, we're prayer warriors.
Mhm.
And so there are times when, we get zapped so much of the essence of who we are,
Mhm.
and we often don't have the opportunity to build that back up until something detrimental happens.
Mhm.
And I don't want anyone to get to that level. You don't have to have something devastating happen to you so
Mhm.
that you could be able to say, "Wait a minute, this is awakening." Let's not let it have to be through those channels of communication.
Mhm.
Now is the time for you to really start thinking about it. If you're an entrepreneur and you want your business to go to the next level, and I've been working really hard, and I kind of hit a stone wall, or you're complaining about pricing, or you're complaining about systems. There's something else going on that you get to work on. If
Mhm.
you're in the corporate space and you feel like you've hit the glass ceiling, right?
Mhm.
Then, you're like, "I can't seem to get promoted here. No one recognizes me, or my network isn't rich and deep, so I don't know who to reach out and connect with." There's an opportunity there for you, in those spaces, to be bold. And
Mhm.
if you are the everyday woman at home, you said, "Vaneese, I'm the home engineer. This was the choice and that we made, in our marriage, and I'm glad to have this role, but I need something back.
Mhm.
I need to get something back for myself, so that I can be replenished, so that I can be able to serve others."
Uh-huh.
So it's those women and those spaces that I support, as well as the conscious seekers who want to really live their life full out.
Great. So, how much time and effort is needed for a person to become big, bold, and their bad self?
That's a really great question. Here's the good news. The good news is that it's a lifelong journey of becoming.
Mhm.
That's the good news. And it's the good news because we get to elevate, as different experiences come into, our sphere.
Mhm.
Because every experience calls us up to the next level, to become even more of who we are. But
Mhm.
I think that the really important, equally important question is what does it take to even start this journey? And the journey, and to stay on the journey of boldness. The
Mhm.
first part of the journey is the heightened awareness. When you realize and you own the fact that the life you're living, or the space you're in, right, or the relationships, the connections, whatever you want to call them, if you're starting to feel like something's off here, I'm not feeling great about this, or I'm keep getting the same results, I'm not happy, stress, I got some issues in my tissues,
Mhm.
meaning, physiologically, emotionally, spiritually.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
things I'm just not sitting right. I'm always getting sick. I'm always tired. When you pay attention and start getting aware in that space, that's an
Yes.
invitation for you to up level your
Yes.
spiritual connection.
Yes.
So that is the first invitation into boldness. And the consistency of growth is how you stay. The commitment to the consistency of growth is how you stay on the pathway of becoming. It's not done until we're dead,
Mm-hmm.
but you can choose right now. Do you want to shift where you are in your life and have the next high level of experience? And here's a way to put it spiritually and biblically. Do you want to, run from and give from a cup that is overflowing? Or do you want to continue to give from a cup that is half empty?
Mm-hmm.
So when you can give from an overflow, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you are all up in your boldness.
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
if you're trying to figure out how else can you find some strength, how else can you find the energy, and if you are sacrificing and giving way more and you're not, the level of replenishing is not coming back at a higher overflow level, you
Mhm.
are a candidate to live, in your bold, big, and bad.
Okay, so you have a book,
Yes.
Bold, Big, and Bad.
Yes.
Tell us about your book.
So I have a copy of my book here. So the book is called Bold Isms, Disruptive Thoughts to help you to live bold, big, and bad. And actually, it's a bundle. So there is a workbook. So if you don't know by now, as you're listening to me, and I hope that the listeners are taking notes, but I created this book because Thomie, again, I was at that crossroads. It was such a pinnacle time in my life. It was
Mhm.
such a pinnacle time where I was like, I really want something different. I know what the same looks like. I don't want more of the same. So I really started reading my Bible. I was in prayer. I was really, in meditation, and I was doing a lot of reading to find my pathway. And what came up for me was the realization that I was living my life through other people's eyes via their colloquialisms, via their sayings,
Mhm.
you know, and how much I had adopted people's sayings to be the truth, in my life. And I'll give you an example. No pain, no gain. Like if it, what doesn't hurt you won't help you. Like
Mhm.
who came up with these sayings? You don't have to hurt to grow. It doesn't always go that way, right? And so I just started realizing, like, and I'll say this one, this is probably gonna shake everybody's world. The saying is, don't put your purse on the floor, babe, because you put your purse on the floor, you'll stay broke.
Yes,
You
and
know,
that still sticks with me today.
and I'll just tell you, for me, I tried that out. And I said, because there's sometimes there's no place to put my purse other than the floor. And what I
Mhm.
realized is I am the conduit, for the construct for my abundance. I don't care if I put my purse on the floor, if I put it on the ceiling. It's up to me what I do, leveraging my bigness that will pour into, the bank account that I can pour into the purse.
Right,
I'm not gonna be broke because my purse is on the floor.
right, because it's the mindset, the law of attraction. If I
Yeah,
think
see?
that I'm going to be broke if I put my purse on the floor, I will be broke because I put my first
My purse
purse
on
on.
the floor.
And
But
you can turn it
also,
around and say,
right,
if I put my purse on the floor, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be abundantly with
yeah,
overflowing.
yeah.
It's what you put into it. Yeah.
It's what you assign it. But remember,
Yes.
we all come from a culture,
Yes.
where we're told these different quips. We're
Uh-huh.
told these different colloquialisms. We're told these different things, and we make them a belief system and we operate them. So the book Boldisms, Disruptive Thoughts to Help You Live Bold, Big, and Bad, really is about questioning some of these different constructs that we are operating from
Uh-huh.
and can't figure out why our life isn't going the way we want it to be. And then the workbook goes along with it because it's a motivational book with different quotes in it, and it's 52 weeks of quotes. But there's the workbook also has 52 weeks of questions for each section. So and it really helps you to delve deep into asking yourself these individual questions and really telling yourself the truth of how
Mhm.
you are receiving, this information and how you are then operating from it in your life.
Yeah. Responding honestly.
Yes. Got
Yes.
to be honest with yourself.
Yes. So, okay, we're coming to a close. So, what is your contact information, for people who want to work with you or just get your book? So,
That's thank you. That's a good question. I'm so easy. Just Google Vaneese Johnson. That's it. So
Spell your
Google,
name for them.
yeah. So it's Vaneese. It's V like Victor, Aneese. So Vaneese, Vaneese Johnson. So you can go to vaneesejohnson.com. You can be able to order from my website. You can also find me on Instagram at the Boldness Coach.
Mhm.
You can find me on Facebook at the Boldness Coach. You can find me on Twitter at Boldness Coach. No the on Twitter. And you can also find me on LinkedIn under Vaneese Johnson.
Don't you like her brand, the Boldness Coach?
The
So, you have any
Boldness.
final words?
I really encourage people that to really live your best life this time, despite coming out of a pandemic, and we're still on the intel of it, right?
Right.
Despite of being in a pandemic, despite of all of the social challenges that are happening in the environment,
Mhm.
despite the cultural shifts, this is an opportunity right now for you to really live the life that you were born to live.
Mhm.
So I would encourage everyone to step out into your bold, big, and bad. Move from your potential self to your actual self and watch your life unfold in the process of you becoming. I guarantee you, try it out. And you're just going to be so surprised about manifestation. Thomie is a whole nother level.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. I've studied that.
Yes.
So, thank you, Vaneese. We're going
Mhm.
to end with that. And I could not have ended any better. So, thank you for watching the Thomie Talks show. And thank you for being a guest.